Welcome to Autism Knows No Borders, a podcast where people connected to autism inspire change and build community. Together with the Global Autism Project, I'm your host, Rachel Harmon, a professional with over a decade of experience in the field of autism services, outreach, and advocacy. Do you struggle with organizing your physical space? Or have you found systems that work well for your needs? Organization can be a sensitive topic, especially if you feel any shame for not being as organized as you'd want to be. If you're looking for tips on how to design a space that works for you, stick around, because today's episode is a Global Autism Community roundtable discussion about organizational and environmental management, featuring autistic self-advocates Hattie-Angelys Fox, Amira Collantes, Adrian Sanchez, and Eren Denburg, as well as community member Cheryl Albright. Among other things, we discuss decluttering small versus large spaces, organizational styles to support executive functioning skills, how to find tools and systems that work for your brain, sharing spaces with others who have organizational styles different from yours, micro versus macro organization, and how to let go of things that no longer serve you. In this episode, discover what's possible when your environment fits your needs. And now I present you the Global Autism Community.
My name is Eren Niederhofer. I'm an autism self-advocate who's had 10 years of autism self-advocacy in terms of public speaking and networking. I was introduced to Rachel Harmon through some associates and family. And I've been really having a great time being able to use my experience with autism to basically lift other people up or work with organizations or companies to create a better environment and system for people on the spectrum. My biggest goal is always self-improvement, and I believe that it is never too late to find that form of self-improvement within life, but also reaching outside your comfort zone.
Hello, my name is Adrian. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm an IT specialist on the autism spectrum, and I'm working forward to learning some more stuff about the community and becoming an autism advocate. And I've been here for less than a year already, but I'm already enjoying the community already, and I look forward to inputting my insights as well as my experience while on these sessions. It's been a good year so far.
Hello, I'm Amira. I'm from Lima, from Peru, and I'm an autism self-advocate.
My name is Angelys Fox. I am an autistic adult, late diagnosed high masculine. I live in the United States. I'm in New York on Long Island. I am also a dual certified educator in special education and regular education for early childhood, birth through second grade. And I am a board certified behavior analyst. I have been working in the educational fields since 1998, and specifically with autistic individuals since 1999. And I am mama and partner to a neurodivergent family. And as always, I'm really grateful to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheryl Albright. I'm currently living in Bradenton, Florida. It's about an hour south of Tampa. I'm an occupational therapist, yoga therapist, and autism sibling. My brother's on the severe end of the autism spectrum and is nonverbal as an adult. And I'm a SkillCorps alumni.
Okay, so today's topic, this month's theme, is organization and environmental management. We thought this would be a great topic to go over because, well, as organization falls under this kind of bigger umbrella of executive functioning skills, which we could have a whole another month just dedicated to, and all of those different skills. This is something we're just kind of focusing on for today. I also want to emphasize that this is a safe space. And although, maybe there might be some shame around not being as organized as you would like to be, we're not going to judge you here. So just feel free to share as much as you would like or as little as you would like. Some of the topics we're going to be talking about today include some struggles. And so that'll give you a chance to share what you're going through, or also just maybe hear from other people and just know that you're not alone. And we'll also be talking about some tools and strategies and systems that work for you. So hopefully you can walk away from this conversation with some practical tips. Okay, so let's start off with just saying, when you think about organization and environmental management, what comes to your mind? Are you excited about it? Are you kind of stressed? What are some things that you might struggle with? Eren.
For me, organization, it basically means structure, foundation. It basically means the framework behind getting something done, behind what you're getting involved in. It can involve like some unspoken rules that you might want to be learning about. That's what often stresses me. The need to know the unspoken rules between different organizations, between different structures or frameworks. Or sometimes I may want to know what are some ways to help people with the organizational stuff, how to explain the different organization to someone, needing to understand those key elements.
Got it. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it and to define it. Amira.
Yes. Well, I think that organization is something extremely important for life in general. And I'm one of those people that organizes most of the things in whatever space they're in. And I just really think it's a great tool to develop new skills or just being yourself in your space and living your life. Yes, it's a little more difficult for some people or very difficult, but I think it can help us very effective way if we learn how to manage it correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, Amira. Adrian?
Yes, I definitely apply the organizational skills in my everyday life situation because it helps to create some time-saving techniques and to be able to find things easily. Not only that, but it also helps to decrease anxiety so that way you're not stressing about trying to find something that you really need at the last moment. So with many types of organizational skills, it also helps to build some profession in everyday life, and not just with personal life, but also with work skills as well. And when you show that you're very organized, it creates a powerful impact on your reflection. And not only that, but it's also about keeping stuff clean, and it's a very good reflection on your persona, both as a citizen and as a worker. And I'm very glad that I apply this as my daily routines as well. Anyone can do it. It's pretty easy, and I actually really like it as it's a pretty good stress reliever as well.
Were you always this organized? Or did you have learn to become organized later?
I don't remember too far back from my childhood, but I'm pretty sure I was a messy little toddler. But as I got older, things just looked nice and cleaner, and that pretty much just made me happy because I like to just see things as just brand new and being able to just find stuff easily. I applied it with my room, I pretty much applied it with my living space, and now I pretty much apply it with my car. And people are pretty much very surprised because they get the wrong impression that it's just brand new. But I really just try to keep it neat so I can be able to drive guests where they need to and not feel uncomfortable, whether it be family members or friends as well. And I feel like my childhood was pretty good with trying to keep things organized, and people didn't always have to tell me how to organize it. But as an adult, I see why it's very important, both in the personal life and professional life as well.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that you've found some things that work for you. Angelys, how about you?
It's actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because, well, a vast many people have expressed how it's come easily to them. There's a number of humans who it doesn't come naturally to, Organization, like so many things that we do in life, is a learned behavior. So in the absence of skills that match your intrinsic abilities, in the absence of good models, or even in the absence of having good time management to allot for the time necessary to do those things, it's not intrinsically innate for a lot of people. It's not a skill that comes easily, or it might come easily in one area, professional or personal life, but not in others. And as the people who have chosen to share already, it can be incredibly beneficial, knowing where to place your things, feeling comfort in sharing your spaces with other people, feeling as though it presents and represents you well to the world around you. So there's a lot of benefits to having quality organization. And yet, and I don't know for those who live outside of the United States, but the United States is a very consumeristic society. We end up with lots of things. Keeping those things in order can become overwhelming and very difficult when you share your life with small people, whether they're ones you borrow from friends or that you've made yourself. They also are in the process of learning those skills. So they can tend to create disruption in the environment and make it harder for you might have created an order. You leave the room and that order has now become disorder. And so making sure that an environment is created that supports all of the humans who are utilizing it effectively is something that's taken a lot of time for me to really understand both the different ways that people would do it, how to do it for smaller spaces, how to help people make choices around what tangible objects they want to hold and ones they're ready to release, and doing that with dignity and respect for the person who's in front of me or who that environment needs to serve has been something that I've really taken a lot of time to hone skills around, because not only for my own life, the life of being a homeschool parent, but also my professional life, not just organizationally in terms of as a professional, but what I do for my clients. Environmental supports and the environment being able to meet someone where they are, catch them or support them when they're struggling is absolutely critical. It can help reduce burnout. It can help reduce depression, anxiety, frustration, and more. So I just think it's an absolutely critical skill set.
Yes, absolutely. And you touched on a few things there too, that kind of, when we think about executive functioning skills, like maybe the spokes or just like the web of it. And time management is definitely one. So making the time to organize. And I would say also, like, organization, yes, there's the physical environmental space, but there's also the mental aspect too. And so for me personally, like, I've learned some systems of how to just dump things that are from my brain onto paper, like with journaling and stuff, or planning and agendas. And I feel like that reduction of clutter mentally just is such like a relief, right? And so sometimes also when you see a space that's looking cluttered or more cluttered than you would like, because everyone is different, then it affects our mental capacity to maybe even get something done, right? Like when I see my desk, which I'm not going to show you guys right now, but when I see it and it's not clear enough, I have a hard time starting work. Like I need to kind of just sweep it first. Cheryl, you're nodding, you're agreeing.
Yeah, I probably not the best example of environmental organization whatsoever. I don't know if it's when I have a lot of things on my plate, I think the environment ends up going last. Like my desk is actually not too bad. It's been worse. But between looking down and I'm like, oh, that's all my brother's paperwork. So there are piles. I kind of know where stuff is. It's not remotely organized, and I'm not really good at the moment is keeping the environment going. Like you said, the mental space too. So like compartmentalizing everything. So do I have my caregiver hat on? Do I have my therapist hat on? Do I have the business owner hat on? It depends on which headspace I'm in. And then by the time I'm home, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which drives my husband nuts. But I don't have any more headspace for it. And it's like, oh, that just is going to just sit there. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to say, touching on what Cheryl said, I think I want to enhance that. What organization is for any given person can be really, really, really different. Some people like to see their things, and that creates a sense of order for them. Some people don't like to see their things. They find it stressful. Some people need everything to have a home, and like, that's it. And some people need like really big, broad categories. And they're like, oh, if it's paperwork for my business or paperwork for my this or paper for that, like it's going to be in this box, that box, the other thing. And there's so many strategies around individualizing systems. Like, that's one of the first things that I like to help enhance with people is that there is no right way. However, the organized aesthetic is often developed towards one type of human. You know, everything is in its very specific place, and then it's always hidden, and it's always, and we get internalize that, whether we do it on purpose or not. We start to believe that like there's only one way, and I'm either good at that thing or I'm not good at that thing. But to my mind, there's as many ways to create order and environmental order and supports as there are humans who are in need of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And then how can we live with other people who have different organizational styles, right? And work together to make sure that we're not annoying the other person or kind of stepping over their toes and demanding that it should be done your way. Does anyone have any experience with that? Like maybe living with a roommate or living with siblings or parents?
I can attest to this. I remember when Molly gives the dishwasher example, and she's very Capricorn. My husband is the male version of her. So I literally stopped putting things in the dishwasher because he would come behind me and play Tetris. And like things have to go in it the way it's supposed to go. And I've just learned he has to be in control of some things and just to back off.
So you kind of weigh who it's more important to.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Amira?
Well, I think the only experience I've ever had of that style is when I shared room with my little sister or when I went on school trips. But I'm one of those people that really thinks that we should respect each other's space. Like, this is your shelf, this is my shelf. Okay, you cannot put your things in my shelf, and I cannot put mine in your shelf. And well, I really think that I didn't have trouble with that at some point, neither with my sister or my classmates. But I think that, yes, organization is a form of expression, but also it can turn into something that you feel like you cannot leave for later, and you get like very worried about it in some cases.
Mm.
And I wanted to bring this up because often autistic people are paired with the diagnosis of obsessive compulsive disorder. And I just think that it's something difficult to talk about, even if you experience it or not. But one thing is being organized and liking organization, and the other thing is being obsessed with it. And you can literally not sleep if you haven't put your, I don't know, your books in this correct order. And I think a lot of people misunderstand OCD just because they think it's just the organization part, when in reality, it's much more than that. And it's not like I cannot sleep because my books are not in this order that is aesthetically pleasing. No, it is I cannot sleep because my books are not in this order. And if my books are not in this order, something is going to break into my house and I will die. And I think that's a really stressing thought for a lot of people, and that people should be more understanding about this problem that is much more than liking, because it's not liking, it's being a slave to organization, and that's not fun.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Amira. That's a really good point to bring up.
Just like to say, I completely understand that, Amira. In hotel rooms, sometimes I can't sleep until I know I'm going to wake up to a visually calm space. It's not necessarily the intrusive thoughts around fear of harm necessarily, but it is that I can't seek rest until I know that when I'm done resting, I won't have paid a price for having done it. So if I wake up and my space is so overwhelming that I don't want to get out of bed, then I would have rather had stayed up and fixed it and gotten less sleep, but quality sleep, and haven't gotten more sleep and feel incapacitated on the other side of it.
Got it. Thanks, Angeles. That can be really scary to have to go through. Adrian, can you relate in any way?
Pretty much. I do feel like there is a compulsive disorder if something does feel unorganized, especially if you don't remember keeping it like that. And when you're sharing a small space with other roommates, then that can create some friction in between. But I feel like the best thing to keep in mind is that if neither one is just organized, then you can just remind that other roommate that if things are just cluttered, then keep in mind that you still have or might have that other person's stuff, and then they might be more motivated to keep their stuff in a divided area. But as for me, I just don't feel like I have to deal with that anymore. It's all in the past. And I really just like to keep my stuff organized basically because it's just easier to find everything. It's a pretty good way to just relax and just go to sleep at night. Like Angeles and Amira are saying, I just feel like it's not a good way for me to just sleep knowing that everything is all messed up, and then it's just gonna cause me some more anxiety to try to be able to find something if I need some particular thing on a particular day. And especially if it's just not gonna be a good day the next day if I'm still finding it and then I miss my deadline for when I actually do need some particular tool for a particular job. But aside from material possessions, I feel like it's great to keep the mind organized as well. Keep everything divided, and then it's not just jumbled all together and feeling like I need to create everything or do every single task all at the same time. It's all organized in different pieces and all placed in different parts of the brain. And I don't know too much about brain anatomy and all that stuff, but I do know that there's different sections for different areas on which we do remember things. And that helps us to create some more organized space in the physical environment. Good way to look at it.
Amazing. Thanks, Adrian. Hello, Rachel here. Would you like to share your own perspectives by participating in roundtables like this one? Join our online Global Autism Community, a safe and judgment-free space where all kinds of people connected to autism regularly discuss important topics like autistic identity, dating on the spectrum, coping strategies, and many, many more. We'd love to see you over at community.globalautismproject.org. And now, back to the roundtable. Let's transition into talking about some different tools and systems that work for you. Angeles, you posted something in the community about kind of requirements for environmental organization. Can you share that with us?
I follow tons and tons and tons of content creators. This was something that my mother had a very rigid way of doing things that didn't match me. And so I had to learn a lot. And one of the things for myself when I'm supporting somebody who's like, my space is disorganized. Well, first of all, identify what you want the space to do. What is it supposed to do for you? Then remove anything that's excess that doesn't serve those purposes. And then understanding who you are and how you move and use them. And one of the content creators I love is a neurodivergent woman. She's an ADHDer. Her name is Cass. She's Canadian. Her YouTube channel is Clutterbug. She's actually even had a show on TV, Discovery, I believe. But she looks at 4 organizational styles, the intersection between macro and micro, where you like everything in just like big sections or little sections, and then hidden and out, like visual. And when you intersect those, she calls them her clutter bugs. And she names each one with like a cute ladybug, bee, whatever. But understanding what you're naturally inclined to do, for those of us who want everything to have a space and a space for everything, you're a micro organizer. For those of us who are like, I just like to have some piles, like this is my to-do pile for work and my home stuff and my business stuff, like you're a macro organizer. For those of us who are like, I can't feel like I can initiate until this space is visually clear, you like things hidden. If you feel like you can't initiate till you have all your tools directly in front of you, you like things visual. And when you understand that better, it's a little bit easier to create systems that work. And when you have to share your space, defaulting to macro and visual, no, macro and hidden is actually easiest. So literally like, oh, okay, everyone's got a cubby where they put their things. You know, you come in, you just put your bag, your backpack, your book, whatever, you put it here. This is your space. And then we can close the door. So if I don't like seeing the way you keep it, I don't have to. You know, it's a matter of, so like all these shelves behind me are pretty detailed. It's we're in my homeschool room right now, but they're labeled and they're actually kind of general, like history's in one place and science is in another place. And if the kids kind of move those books around or take them back and forth, it kind of doesn't matter. There's no like this book, then that one type of a thing. Yes, if I had complete control, would my sense of rule governance take over and it would be very micro? Absolutely. But I'm sharing the space with a family, with my children who have less sophisticated skills. So we go to a slightly visual, it's easier for them to find it, and for a macro. And then this is a downstairs room. So I can close the door, making it hidden. If the kids didn't put it back, it's not disrupting my ability to function in the rest of my home. And so that's where that hidden, like macro and hidden, okay, at least if all the school stuff is down here and I close the basement door, I can function in the kitchen, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, my living room without it becoming a disturbance for me. And so understanding those pieces is super important, especially when you're sharing space with other humans.
Yeah, I love that. So anyone else, do you have some strategies that have worked for you? And now hearing how Angelys has kind of described the different styles, the different organizational styles, do you see yourself in one of them? Cheryl, you want to share?
Yeah, I'm definitely the macro. Like nothing looks like it's organized, but it's the piles, right? So the stuff right here, some of my brother's, it needs to be put in his bin. There's stuff that's business stuff over here, and everything is in that pile. And then I don't have to be in this room, so I can just shut the door. Right. So I'm only in here if I'm working or trying to find something or on Zoom calls or the printer and scanners in here. So it's literally, I can just shut the door. So if I don't feel like working in here, I don't have to. I can just take the laptop and go into a different room. I don't need things to be visually clear to get stuff done. I will use it as a procrastination technique, but I don't need it to be done. And I know this. So like, oh, well, I could just pretend to organize this thing over here and get distracted. There's like a meme that goes around where a woman's trying to organize her closet and then it just like looks like her clothes are all over the place and she's in like fetal position with a glass of wine. And I'm like, that you could go down that rabbit hole too, right? But I'm definitely, I'll close the door, I'll be fine. My husband, on the other hand, no. But I will say in that regard, like our kitchen drives us nuts. Like it's just poorly designed as far as how it's laid out, and it makes it really hard to keep organized. Like there's not enough counter space, like just beyond the sink to have the things that you would normally, I don't know. It's weird. It's in like a funky shape and it's just hard to organize. So I will agree with him on that. But
okay. But so far you've found something that works for you in your personal space. Great. Okay, someone else. Anything that you've been hearing that you see yourself? Amira?
Yes, I'm definitely more of a micro organizer because I like to have my things in specific places, even if it's just like miscellaneous stuff. I have like a little basket for miscellaneous. But I really think that micro-organization is very important when it comes to one thing that is studying. I'm an English major and I have to organize my my readings, because if I don't do it, I'm lost. And I love organizing by color. That's a strategy that helps me a lot. Or writing like a keyword on top of the paper to know like what's it about. You know, knowing the strategy you use is very important. And that is something I really appreciate. They taught me at school. They said, okay, we're going to help you find your learning method. I'm a learner that learns more through writing by hand. So that's how I organize my stuff. That's how I remember it. And I think that regardless of what you study at any stage in your life, being a kid or an adult, it's really important to have a good space to study, organize, and like a good space that motivates you to study. Because as they say, it's a cluttered space is a cluttered mind, right? So I think that separating your study space from the other space in your house is it's really important. Even if it's, I don't know, maybe your study space is in the same room as your partner's study space, or maybe it's in your bedroom. And I think that even if that's the case, like my study space is in my bedroom, I have like this division that my bed is on the completely opposite side of the room than my desk. I'm currently at my desk. And I think that organization, like macro organization, the organization from where's your bed to where's your desk, or the micro organization of your desk itself, is pretty important to get things done, especially if you're neurodivergent and you have like easy distractions at your reach. You need to have the moment to learn your organization or learning method, and then you can manage things more easily for your own benefit.
Yeah, I totally agree, Amira, with the way rooms are set up or houses are set up really is important and should be considered when thinking about what works for you. Like, I know I could not personally not be able to have my desk in my bedroom because I think it would not motivate me to get things done. I'd probably just want to go to sleep all the time. Or maybe when it's time to go to sleep, I'll be thinking about work. So for me, it's important to have that separation. Adrian, how about you? What would you say your style is and what's worked for you?
I would say that keeping everything that's related to that particular task is something that I agree with. And unless you live in a small living space, then everything is just going to have to be cluttered together. But there are good ways to organize that. And not only that, but there are also times when you just feel like there's just so much stuff that's been accumulating over the years, you would feel the need to just get rid of some stuff. Maybe have a yard sale or give it to Goodwill, or just find out the value of it and see if it's actually worth anything. And then you can actually sell it for a good profit. But when it comes to organizing those kinds of stuff, I usually go by the very special rule, which is, do I want it? Do I need it? And is it going to last longer? So it's pretty a good way to see what needs organizing, what to keep and just what to give away. And when things I like can be pretty much related to what I enjoy as a hobby. Not only that, but I can keep that in the category and what I could utilize, so I don't have to be able to get something else, because otherwise I'm just going to be buying something that I already have. And that falls in the category of what I would need for working my own stuff. And one thing that's a combination of both wanting and needing are stuff that's irreplaceable, such as pictures or important files and hard drives. Those would need to have a very special backup, either on a hard drive or just keep it in a nice safe place over in a photo album. And if those all last longer, then they are definitely worth keeping, and they need to be kept in a special place, and they can be utilized for later purposes. But other than that, no matter what space you have, it can still be divided and be able to serve purpose. And in larger environments, that just means that it's going to be a bigger advantage for more division and keeping other material items. Pretty good system that I got. Do I want it? Do I need it? Is it going to last longer when it comes to decluttering the space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those too. And Angelys, you added something in the chat. Do you want to share that?
Sure. Some of the other decluttering questions I like to ask also is, did I know I owned it? So if you didn't know you own it, like you might not need it. If it was not in my space, would I buy it again? So that's another question that can help with decluttering. And I think, Rachel, I think I remember what you were referencing before, is that in my home, I have a halfway home for things. I actually have a stack of bins in my back room where, like, when we think we're ready to let something go, we put it there. And when those boxes or bins are filled up, that's when we take everything to donation centers. But it gives me some time to live without something and like check in on myself. So I find that to be a super helpful strategy. And I have a couple other things I'll point out if the time allots, but I'd rather hear what other people have to say first. But in terms of creating order and how to know where to put something, which can be hard for people.
I definitely want to hear that. I just want to add one thing about the getting rid of things. And something that I've learned, actually, my husband taught me this. I was doing the KonMari method. You guys know that? Marie Kondo. Yeah, I read the book and got a lot of great insight from it. And so I kind of KonMari'd my whole place one time. And one thing that I found that was hard for me was the sentimental stuff, like the nostalgia that is paired with an item. And so my husband suggested one time, well, you could just take a picture of it and then it will still be with you in some way, but then it can let go. And, as Marie Kondo says, thank it for bringing you joy and move on with your life. So, Angelys, I'd like to turn it back to you if you want to share some of those other tips. I could definitely tell this is one of your passions. And so I'm loving all of the things that you're sharing.
Oh, thank you. So another content creator I follow, I believe on Facebook, her handle is I Organize. She's a professional organizer, again, another neurodivergent content creator. And some of the questions that she likes to ask is like, well, how do you know where to put something? Should you put it with its family? And by family, she means it's like, oh, all of the hairpins go together. This is the bin where hairpins live. Should you put it with its coworkers? So does this hairpin belong with a brush? And I have curly hair, so detangling spray, like that would be its coworkers. Or should you put it with its cousins, like other things that I put in my hair, bows and stuff like that? Like they're not identical, but they all like help style my hair. And so kind of thinking to yourself, like, does it go with its family or identical things? Does it go with its coworkers, things that would allow you to work together? So like silly, but this is like my traveling desk. I have all sorts of coworkers in here, from markers to pens, mini staplers, scissors. Like it's so that I can move, right? Or does it go with its cousins? Like all of my writing implements might want to live together, because when I'm ready to write, I want the assortment. Asking yourself those questions can help you, whether you're micro or macro, just starting to create some order for, if your purse and your keys and your umbrella are by the front door, those are the coworkers for leaving the house. So those kinds of thoughts can help you to figure out like what's going to be the best system for you, your environment, and your goals.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I think maybe some of us even just do that already, right? You can think about where you put some of your things and how you place them. All right. So we have just a couple minutes left. Any other last takeaways or tips that you want to share? Any closing comments? Maybe even some tips for other autistic people?
Make sure that you are having your environment serve you and you're not serving your environment. So if all of your time and your mental energy and your physical energy is spent on the environment, it's not spent living your life. Your environment is there to meet your needs, not the other way around.
Yeah, great reminder. Thanks, Angelys. Amira.
I would like to tell other autistic people to organize their physical space the same way you organize your mind, like with the same system. If you organize your physical space, I don't know, with different categories, micro categories or macro categories, you organize your mind the same way. Your train of thought, to be more specific, your train of thought is organized on the same way the physical space. Okay, so I'm looking for my keys. Where are my keys? Okay, so they were in the kitchen. And then I think I left them by the microwave. And if they were by the microwave, in which side of the microwave where are they? It's like a train of thought that you use, and you can also use to find things in your physical space if it's like in the same system. It just works for me.
Got it. Thanks, Amira. Adrian?
Yes, I would just like to say that when it comes to organizing space, always remember that a lot of the stuff that we do have can always feel rented, but time is something that we can never get back. And the more we organize our physical possessions as well as everything in our mind, we can live our life at ease, whether we're on the spectrum or not. And it's important to have a good safe haven for all the stuff for a conveniency, and that can definitely help to reduce anxiety as well as to help with time-saving techniques in everyday lives as well.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Adrian. Cheryl, do you have anything to share, maybe from an OT lens?
Yeah, occupational therapists do help with executive functioning, and I'm also a yoga therapist, so my head tends to go in that direction. And it's a lot harder to organize your brain than it is your physical space. And I like my head just kept going, let it go. So, having some kind of practice, mind body practice, whatever that looks like for you, could be part of your wellness routine. And it doesn't have to be yoga. There's other ones there's Tai Chi, there's martial arts, there's pick what works for you that brings you some joy, that doesn't feel like a chore. It could just be mindful movement or going for a walk, caring for a pet, whatever that looks like for you, and do more of it. And that ripple effect will go into your environment. My tiny little space where I do a practice doesn't look like a lot. Sometimes it has my laptop on it because I'm watching a recording from one of my teachers or something like that. But just has a little thing where I can burn incense, light a candle, and it's literally a corner. And so finding that space, it doesn't even have to be a physical space. It could be a space out in nature. It could be wherever it is that kind of gives you that sense of peace. I always like to have that in somebody's wellness plans. Like, what are you going to do for you to keep yourself relatively, I don't want to use the word calm, but regulated, the best that you can be, and do that.
Yeah, I love that. Because I was just thinking as you were sharing, like when I do feel dysregulated, maybe it's because I've just come back from a trip or I'm just super busy with things and life that happens, and it's reflected in my physical space. Then it kind of feeds off of each other and it adds more stress when I see it. And so because I think I'm more of the, I guess, would it be micro, where I want to put things away in their homes? Yeah. Okay. So I'm definitely more of that micro style. And when I take a step back and I get back into my routines and I find time to do the yoga in the morning, that makes me feel good and just feel more balanced overall, then things just fall into place too in my physical space. It's all connected. And I think just remembering to give ourselves some grace, right? And be easy on yourself in those moments when you are feeling dysregulated, knowing that it's not going to last forever, that you do have the tools. You've been in a place before where it's worked for you. And so just remembering that maybe taking a step back, doing what you need to do to have like a bigger picture of everything that's happening might ease up some of that anxiety. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope this was helpful to you. I know I learned a lot. Thank you, Angelys, so much for sharing all of your great ideas, and for everyone also sharing and kind of getting vulnerable with us and really opening up. We'll see you all in the community. Thanks for tuning in to Autism Knows No Borders. Are you a self-advocate willing to share your story and educate others? Or a professional seeking to hear directly from autistic voices and improve your practice? Or maybe you're a family member hoping to support and empower your loved one. Whatever your connection to autism is, we'd love to hear your takeaways from this episode in our online Global Autism Community, where hundreds of people from all over the world come together to support each other and know that they're not alone. Join us today at community.globalautismproject.org. Let's work together to transform how the world relates to autism. Thanks for listening. Take care.